Leo was a boy who lived in a world of static. It wasn't a sound, not really. It was a feeling, a constant, low hum that vibrated in his teeth and tickled the back of his mind. For 10-year-old Leo, it was as normal as the color of the sky. He lived with his older sister, Sarah, in a small, dusty house on the edge of the city. Their parents were gone, memories faded like old photographs. Leo was quiet, introverted. He spent his days sketching in a worn-out notebook. His drawings were strange, not of superheroes or cars, but of intricate, spiraling patterns that looked like frozen whirlwinds and geometric honeycombs. He didn't know where the images came from. They just appeared in his head, and his pencil would race to catch them. The static got worse during thunderstorms. While Sarah saw only lightning, Leo would press his hands over his ears, his eyes squeezed shut. He saw flashes of things within the light, jagged, impossible landscapes under a purple sky. He never told anyone. Who would believe him? One evening, the sky began to change. It wasn't a storm. The clouds swirled into a perfect, green-tinged spiral. The static in Leo's head erupted into a deafening roar. He dropped his pencil, clutching his temples. The spirals in the sky were identical to the one he had drawn just that morning. Then they came. Ships, vast and silent, descended from the heart of the spiral. They were not made of metal as humans know it, but seemed to be carved from obsidian, reflecting no light. They were shaped like his honeycombs, angular and terrifyingly beautiful. They hovered over every major city, a silent, looming judgment. The world held its breath. And then the invasion began. It wasn't with lasers and explosions. It was quieter, more insidious. The aliens, which people started calling the Whisperers, released a wave of energy. It wasn't a weapon that destroyed buildings, but one that attacked the mind. Wherever the energy passed, people simply stopped. They stood frozen, their eyes glowing with a faint green light, trapped in a waking nightmare, their consciousness silenced. The military was useless. Planes fell from the sky as their pilots succumbed. Tanks ground to a halt. Communication networks dissolved into garbled static. Humanity was being switched off city by city. In the chaos, as their neighborhood fell silent around them, Sarah dragged a trembling Leo into their basement. The static in his head was now a screaming chorus, but within the noise, he could hear something new. A single clear tone. A beacon. A military truck, heavily armored and one of the last still moving, screeched to a halt outside their house. Soldiers in advanced hazard suits, designed to block the mental energy, stormed in. Their leader was a weary but sharp woman, Colonel Eva Vance. She didn't look at Sarah. Her eyes were locked on Leo, who was curled in a ball, humming a strange, melodic tune to fight the noise in his head. "The boy," she said, her voice filtered through her helmet. "You're coming with us." At a secret, deep underground military base, a place of frantic activity and grim faces, they explained it to a terrified Sarah. "We intercepted a signal buried deep within their energy wave," a scientist said, pointing to a massive screen. On it, a complex, pulsating pattern was displayed. "It's not a weapon. It's a search pattern. They're looking for something. Or someone." Colonel Vance pointed to Leo's open notebook, which a soldier had retrieved. She placed it next to the screen. The pattern on the screen was an exact, more complex version of the spirals Leo had been drawing for years. "The signal is a key," Vance said, her voice low and intense. "And your brother, whether he knows it or not, is the lock. The code is in his mind. He's the only one who isn't being silenced by their energy. In fact, he seems to be the source of the one signal that disrupts it." Leo, small and pale, looked at the patterns. The static in his head quieted when he focused on them. He understood in a way he couldn't put into words. The aliens weren't trying to find him. They were trying to talk to him. But their hello was destroying his entire world. The plan was desperate. The Whisperer's mothership was positioned directly over the capital city. Their energy wave was spreading, a slow, green tide of silence. In a matter of days, the entire country would fall. "We think they're waiting for a response," the scientist explained. "The search pattern is a question. We need you, Leo, to give them the answer." They built a machine, a massive amplifier, designed to broadcast Leo's brainwaves. He would be the message. Inside the amplifier chamber, Leo stood alone, facing a large view screen showing the obsidian underbelly of the mothership. Sarah and Colonel Vance watched from a control room, their faces tight with anxiety. "Just focus on the pattern, Leo," Vance's voice came through a speaker. "Let your mind go to it." Leo closed his eyes. He let the static fill him, and then he reached for the clear tone, the beacon. He pictured his spiral, the one from his notebook. He poured all his focus into it. The amplifier hummed. On the screen, a soft blue light, Leo's light, pulsed from their base and shot towards the mothership. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire ship reacted. The honeycomb patterns on its surface glowed with the same brilliant blue. A section of the ship irised open, not to attack, but as an invitation. A new voice, ancient and echoing as if from the bottom of a well, spoke through the base's comms. It wasn't in English, yet Leo understood it perfectly. The seed bearer awakens. The bridge is found. A wave of relief washed over the control room. They had made contact, but Colonel Vance remained tense. What does that mean? Seed bearer? Bridge? Before anyone could answer, a smaller, shuttle-like craft detached from the mothership and descended towards the base. It was coming for Leo. The alien shuttle was a smooth, dark vessel that moved without sound. It landed gracefully in the base's hangar. The soldiers raised their weapons, but Colonel Vance held up a hand. This was a diplomatic mission now, the most important one in human history. The hatch opened. There was no ramp. Two whisperers emerged, floating just above the ground. They were tall, slender beings with long limbs and skin that looked like polished stone. They had no discernible faces, just a smooth oval head that now glowed with the same soft blue as Leo's signal. They were terrifying, yet they moved with a serene, graceful purpose. One of them extended a hand towards Leo. It wasn't a hand of flesh, but of shifting liquid crystal. "Leo, no," Sarah cried, stepping forward. But Leo wasn't afraid. The static was gone. For the first time in his life, his mind was completely, utterly silent. And in the silence, he felt a presence. It was old and sad and incredibly lonely. He took a step forward, then another, ignoring his sister's pleas. He reached out and touched the alien's hand. A flash of light. A torrent of images. He saw a world, beautiful and strange, with crystalline forests and rivers of light. He saw a people, the Whisperers, living in harmony. He saw a great disaster, a cosmic storm that shattered their world, turning it to dust. They were a dying race. He saw their last desperate act. They sent out thousands of seeds, tiny capsules containing their essence, their knowledge, their very genetic code, across the universe, hoping one would find fertile ground. One of those seeds crashed to Earth long before humans built cities. It lay dormant, its energy seeping into the planet. Over millennia, that energy found its way into the human gene pool, a latent code waiting to be activated. Leo saw a man and a woman, his great-great-grandparents. He saw the faint glow of the seed within them. He saw it pass down generation after generation until it reached him. He was the culmination. The seed had fully awakened in him. He was the bridge between two species. He pulled his hand away, gasping. He looked at the alien, and for the first time he understood. "They're not invading," he whispered, his voice small but clear in the silent hangar. "They're trying to come home." The revelation split the command of the base. Colonel Vance saw a solution. "If they just want to live here, we can negotiate. We can share the planet. We can stop this silencing." But a hardline general, General Davies, who had just arrived with reinforcements, saw a threat. "Share? You saw what they did to our cities. They have frozen millions of people. That is an act of war. This seed story is a trick. They have manipulated the boy. They want our world, and he is their key to taking it." Davies gave the order. His soldiers, in new, more powerful combat suits, stormed the hangar. They opened fire on the Whisperer shuttle. The serene silence shattered. The Whisperers reacted not with anger, but with a profound, defensive sorrow. A pulse of green energy erupted from them, not the silencing wave, but a concussive force that threw the soldiers back. The hangar doors began to buckle. In the confusion, General Davies grabbed Leo. "We're leaving. We're taking the boy to a secure location. We'll find a way to use his code as a weapon against them." "No!" Sarah screamed, fighting against the soldier. Leo struggled, but the general was too strong. As he was dragged away, he made eye contact with the lead whisperer. Another flood of images filled his mind. A location. A place of great power where the original seed had landed. A place where the bridge could be completed. The Whisperers retreated to their shuttle as the base descended into a battle zone. Their mothership above the city began to glow brighter, the green light intensifying. The silent invasion was escalating into a real one. They were no longer asking. They were taking, and they would tear the world apart to get their bridge back. Colonel Vance, horrified by Davies' actions, helped Sarah escape. "He's taking him to the old research facility in the Redwood Forest," she said, handing Sarah a data pad. "But that's not where Leo needs to be." She showed Sarah a geological scan. The seed's energy signature is strongest here. She pointed to a remote, mountainous region. That's where this all started. That's where it has to end. While General Davies took Leo to be a weapon, Vance and Sarah stole a vertical lift aircraft. Their goal, to reach the origin point before the Whisperers, in their desperation, decided to simply scour the planet clean. In the aircraft, Sarah looked at Leo's notebook. She saw a new drawing, one he must have done subconsciously. It was a detailed map of the mountain region with a specific valley circled. The Whisperers were guiding him. Meanwhile, in Davies's facility, Leo was hooked up to a brutal-looking machine. "We're going to amplify your code, son," Davies said, his eyes cold. "And we're going to send it back at them as a virus." Leo felt a searing pain. This was wrong. It was a perversion of the connection. He thought of the Whisperers' dying world, their immense loneliness. He thought of the silent millions in the cities, victims of a terrible misunderstanding. He wasn't a weapon. He was a translator. He focused his mind not on the machine but on his sister. He sent out a pulse of pure, desperate need. In the aircraft, Sarah jolted. "Turn left." "No. He's that way." She couldn't explain it, but she could feel him, a tugging at her heart, a whisper on the wind of her mind. The seed within Leo was calling to its family, and now it was calling to her. They reached the valley just as Davies's convoy did. It was a place of breathtaking beauty, a crater-like basin where the trees grew in perfect spirals and the stones hummed with a low energy. In the center was a massive, crystalline rock that pulsed with a soft, inner light. The original seed. Above them, the Whisperer mothership arrived, blotting out the sun. Dozens of shuttles descended. The final confrontation was here. Davies's soldiers formed a perimeter, opening fire on the shuttles. The Whisperers responded, their concussive blast shattering armored vehicles. It was chaos. Leo, seeing his chance, broke free from a soldier and ran. He ran towards the central crystal, towards his destiny. "Leo, wait!" Sarah screamed, running after him. A blast from a Whisperer shuttle struck near her, throwing her to the ground. She cried out in pain. Leo skidded to a halt. He looked at his sister, injured and afraid. He looked at the soldiers and the aliens locked in a pointless, destructive battle. He looked at the glowing crystal, the heart of it all. He understood what he had to do. He was the bridge. A bridge must connect both sides. He stood between the human forces and the Whisperers. He closed his eyes and let go. He stopped trying to block the static. He stopped trying to send a single signal. He opened his mind completely. He became the channel. The knowledge of the Whisperers, their history, their science, their art, their sorrow, flooded into him. And from him it poured out. He projected it not as a weapon but as a gift. He showed the soldiers, General Davies, Colonel Vance, the story of the dying race. He made them feel the Whisperers' loneliness. Simultaneously, he showed the Whisperers' humanity. He showed them a child's laughter, a mother's love, the struggle to survive, the beauty of a sunset, the joy of creation. He showed them that this world was not just a new home, but a world already full of life, of feeling. He showed them Sarah. The fighting stopped. The soldiers lowered their weapons, their minds reeling from the shared experience. The Whisperers hovered in place, their stone-like faces now glowing with a spectrum of colors, awe, understanding, remorse. The lead Whisperer floated towards the crystal. It reached out and touched it. Then it turned and reached for Leo. General Davies, his worldview shattered, made no move to stop it. Leo took the alien's hand. The central crystal erupted in a pillar of pure, white light that shot up into the mothership. The green-tinged spiral in the sky dissolved, replaced by a soft, golden glow. Across the country, in every silent city, the green light faded from people's eyes. They blinked, confused, as if waking from a deep dream, unharmed. The mothership began to change. Its obsidian darkness softened. It started to grow. Crystalline structures, beautiful and organic, blossomed from its surface. It wasn't a warship anymore. It was a new beginning. A piece of their old world reborn. The Whisperers did not conquer Earth. They asked for a place to stay. A treaty was signed, not in ink, but in shared understanding. They were given the great deserts and some of the deep oceans, places humans found difficult to live, and there they began to grow their new crystalline cities. The connection was maintained. Leo, the bridge, became the most important person on the planet. He was the ambassador, the translator, the living link between humanity and its new celestial neighbors. He was no longer the boy with the static in his head. He was the boy who held the silence between two worlds, a silence that was no longer empty but full of promise. He sat with his sister on the roof of their old house, looking up at the night sky. The stars were the same, but among them now drifted beautiful, gentle lights. The whisper cities glowing like a second, gentler moon. "Does it ever get loud?" Sarah asked, putting an arm around him. Leo smiled, a genuine, peaceful smile. "No," he said. "Now it's just quiet. And in the quiet, I can hear everything." He had not saved the world from destruction. He had saved it from ignorance. And in doing so, he had given it a future more amazing and strange than anyone had ever dared to dream. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.